And we are live. What's up, guys? Welcome to Fresh Shit Podcast. We're here with Sulaiman Ahmed. We're going to be talking about what really went down on October 7th. Let's get into it.
Let's go!
All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Fresh Shit Podcast, man. Today, we're going to be talking about some very important stuff. Before we get into it, guys, quick announcement: rumble.com/freshfit. As you guys know, that is the home base. That's how we're able to do this podcast, to be honest with y'all, because we're only going to have a portion of this on YouTube for obvious reasons, and then we're going to go ahead and switch on over to Rumble to have the full discussion. We got a special guest in the house, Sulaiman Ahmed. I'm really excited for this one. Guys, we are having a yacht party June 28th right here in Miami, Florida. 100-foot yacht. We're going to have open bar, a lot of hot girls. It's going to be a good time. Some haram stuff. Sorry, Sulaiman. But it's going to be a good time. So if you guys want to go ahead, get your tickets right now, man. They are on sale on the website. Do we have the website for the yacht thing?
Yes, but Castle Club only.
Yeah. No. Well, here's the thing. So it's open. The party, guys, if you're a member of Castle Club for the next few days up until Friday when we finish the show, you're going to be able to get in at only $3,500. However, if you don't and you're not a Castle Club member, it's going to be $39.95. So guys, just get in Castle Club, get the discount, and get in there and meet us at the party. We only got limited tickets. We're going to be having about 120 people there. Obviously, a large amount of that is going to be the ladies. So the guys' tickets are going to be limited significantly because we obviously want to keep a good ratio of male to female. So there's not going to be that many guy tickets, man. So go ahead and get in there if you guys want to meet us on the yacht. We're going to have us over there, probably Sneeko, a couple other influencers. Going to be a good-ass time. 100-foot yacht, open bar, food, music. We're going to be giving away a Rolex there as well. We're going to be giving a day date away. Going to have some games and stuff like that. So it's going to be a good time. You'll be able to network with some people, meet some of the generals. They're going to be on board. It's going to be a really good time, guys. June 28th. Also, we're going to be streaming. We're going to be having an IRL stream on the yacht as well. You're going to meet Bills and Mo. They're going to be filming. Chris will be there as well. The lovely ladies behind the scenes, Icy, etc. So, yeah, man. Get in, guys. Like I said, $35 if you're on Castle Club. Tickets are on sale now. We're going to drop the link in there for you guys. Or it's going to be $39.95 if you're not a Castle Club member, man. So just get in the goddamn Castle Club. It's $35 to save $500, okay, man? Get in there and jump in with us. And then any other announcements? I'm trying to think here before. I know a lot of you guys are saying W no fresh, you fucking assholes. Yeah. It's going to just be me and Sulaiman. We're going to be talking about this. No girls show tonight, guys, by the way. It's just going to be this. It's going to be a higher IQ conversation. I need it for my hair anyway. Sorry for starting so late, guys. There's literally a flood in Miami. It is flooding all over the place. I don't know if you guys have seen the footage, but people are like literally like underwater. People can't drive. Mo and Bills couldn't get here until recently. Bills literally just walked in like maybe 15, 20 minutes ago. Mo's been here for about an hour, etc. So, yeah, we couldn't have probably done a girl show even if we wanted to, but I didn't want to.
People were literally swimming.
Flooding, bro. Yeah,
they were literally swimming.
People were swimming down here, man. It's really bad. And then also, the other thing I was going to say, I know you guys are probably wondering, why didn't you guys do the Russell Brand show? So as we were driving to Sarasota yesterday, guys, the rain started. The storm started. And we wouldn't have been able to make it there in time for the show. As you guys know, he goes live at 12 o'clock. So we're going to end up doing a collab probably with him on this Friday around 12:30 or so. We're going to jump on his show. So tune in on Friday. We'll be on there with Russell Brand. We couldn't make it happen, obviously, because of the bad weather. I'm glad we turned back, because if we didn't, we would have been stuck in Sarasota and not been able to give you guys the show today. So, yeah, anyway, without further ado, man, we got a special guest in the house. Sulaiman, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for being patient, man. I'm happy to have you. I'm always happy to have you. Pause. So I know who you are, but the people might not know who you are. You've blown up on X, super popular on there, host spaces with some of the biggest influencers on X, much more political than YouTube is. But can you introduce yourself to the people?
Yeah, sure. Look, I'm on Twitter. I blew up on Twitter initially because of the Andrew Tate situation, because I debunked a lot of the lies and propaganda that was going on Twitter. And as you said, I went on Spaces and debated quite a lot of people. And then when October the 7th happened, I became like the main Palestinian voice on Twitter, on social media, debunked, and you're going to see a lot of the propaganda, fake news. And then I was part of a significant number of debates on Twitter Spaces. I think there was one time where I debated like 13 Zios and Zionists, and I forgot we're on YouTube. And then we had a number of debates, and then I had a debate on here with Destiny. So yeah, I think I'm considered one of the main pro-Palestinian voices on social media.
Yeah. Shout out to Destiny. Like I said, I try to host both voices. Destiny's actually in Israel right now, which is funny. They let him in.
He got attacked by an Israeli though, didn't he?
Did he?
Well, yeah. Why'd
they attack him?
Like they started swearing at him. Like it was hilarious.
Why? He's been defending
Supremacy. Obviously, they don't realize who he was. Probably.
Oh shit. Okay. All right. Interesting. That's crazy, bro.
Yeah,
that he got it. What the hell? All right. Well, so guys, we're gonna be talking about October 7th. As you guys know, it's a controversial topic and situation. Depending on who you talk to, there's different viewpoints, different stances. There's different narratives depending on what side you align yourself with. And it's a very divisive topic. I'll be honest. It's an extremely divisive topic. It's opened up a lot of political discussions that otherwise weren't necessarily being had, especially on mainstream platforms like YouTube, Instagram, etc. So first, we're going to go ahead and go over the official narrative that kind of has been pushed out in the West, pushed by the IDF, which stands for Israeli Defense Force. We'll go off of that narrative first, and then we will go ahead and talk about the other side on Rumble for obvious reasons. So if you guys are watching on YouTube, shout out to all you guys. I appreciate all you guys, but we're not going to be here for long. So get ready to go over to Rumble probably within 20, 30 minutes or so. But and we also have a PowerPoint presentation as well. Shout out to Sulaiman for coming so prepared. This is going to be the definitive October 7th podcast. I think that's the aim here. What inspired you, by the way, to do this?
Okay, so look, whenever I see like media, TV, like they're always perpetuating the fake news, right? Whatever the mainstream media narrative is, or whatever whatever that narrative is. And generally speaking, other than like, for example, Twitter Spaces, as you said, the actual real narrative hasn't been stated anywhere. So I give you and your team a huge amount of credit, because in reality, in my view, this will be the place to be if you want to know any information related to October the 7th, because like you can scroll through my Twitter, but even when I was scrolling through it to find this stuff, right, it wasn't easy. So now and people were asking me for a very long time, like, look, build a website, put everything in one place. But this is just literally going to be the easiest place. Anyone who's got any question about October the 7th, you literally just link them this episode and they'll have it. And in terms of the PowerPoint, yeah, it was bare effort. Like, serious. It was like being in school. I was like, flip, I need to hit the deadline. I'm not going to get done. I only got done by the time I started traveling here. So, yeah, it wasn't easy.
No, and I'm honored that you would want to use our platform to be able to put that out. I mean, a lot of podcasts and creators are very scared to talk about this topic. They're terrified. And, I think this is something that's very important. I think all voices need to be heard. But the problem is this. One side does all the censoring typically, right? We know what that is. So I think hearing all perspectives is extremely important, especially the perspectives that everyone wants silence. Why do you want to silence if it's not true, right? As they would claim. So
Well, this is the point, isn't it? Because we'll just talk a bit more generally, isn't it? Because we're on YouTube. But like, for me, it's always this. The people who want to censor are people who aren't very confident in their ideas and beliefs. And that's why, like, for example, even when people attack Islam, I'm always like, look, let's have a debate. Let's have a conversation. What's your issue? Where do you disagree with it? And then we'll break it down and have a conversation, because I'm very confident in my ideas and thoughts. I'm never afraid to discuss them. So that's the way it should be. Yeah, that's the way it should be. But most people are afraid of their ideas and thoughts. They're not ready to have them conversations. They're not ready to hear alternative positions. And generally speaking, I mean, the censorship regime is, generally speaking, not always obviously, but generally speaking, coming from one side, as you said, because they've got things to hide. They don't want people to know the truth.
Of course. So we have this PowerPoint here. So what we're going to go over first is the official narrative. So can we pull it up real quick, Pills? Yeah, pull up the PowerPoint. Yeah, we got a whole presentation for you ninjas.
Bare effort. So many slides.
October 7th lies debunked by Sulaiman Ahmed at June 13, 2024. Look at that. And there's an Instagram handle below. Guys, make sure to follow him on X, man. I said Instagram. Excuse me. I meant to say X. Fuck Instagram. Let's go to the. Yeah. You can minimize us a bit if you need to. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, right down the center. I think that should work. And then go to the next one. So, these are going to be the. Why is it blank? Not okay. I see what you're doing. All right, so for 7 things I was like, what? Why is it blank? So we're gonna be covering the lies debunked, right? So number 1, propaganda. Number 2, beheaded babies. Number 3, dead babies. 4, baked babies. 5, chemical weapons. 6, Israel killing normal people. 7, Hamas charter, and then 8, the mass grape. Okay. So let's go ahead and we're gonna play this clip. This is from Ben Shapiro. I think this was him on, if I'm not mistaken, Piers Morgan, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and this was right after October 7th, right?
It was quite soon after, for sure, and you can see some of the talking points, what they're gonna state.
Yeah.
And then, to be honest, like even though you
can move it all the way to the left, Bills, because we want to enlarge the video anyway if you need to. Yeah. Don't worry about it. Yeah. If you got to get the debunk thing out the way.
So yeah, that bit doesn't matter. So like, even if you think about it, these are the same talking points that are stated now. So like, you saw the clip with Donald Trump where he basically makes the same points, isn't it? And the same arguments where he's like, October the 7th, like, people are denying it, whatever, just like people deny the Holocaust.
Yeah.
And so what's interesting is the ideology of control of people in terms of controlling their thoughts and minds is something they've been using for a very long time, but like every ideology does this, is repetition. You keep repeating the same thing over and over and over again, and people tend to believe it.
Yeah.
Because like, I know on your show, you have all these women, and like, the argument is like, they're not free thinkers.
Yeah.
But in reality, most people aren't free thinkers. It doesn't matter if you're a woman or a man. There's very few people in the world where they'll have their own rational thought, their own ideas, their own belief system. And for me, they're the only people I respect. Because if I can take you, and I know your positions and everything just because of what group you're part of, then why am I talking to you? I can talk to any other like hundreds, thousands, millions of people. And so it doesn't, and that's about anything, whether it's, for example, ideology, political positions, religious beliefs, whatever it is. If I can just swap you with millions of other people or thousands of other people, then what use are you? You're literally the definition of an NPC. So I think people, it is, isn't it? Because and the irony is, a lot of these people use that word for others, like, oh, he's an NPC, he's a simp. But in reality, most people are, because if you've not got original ideas and thoughts and all you're doing is just kowtowing to everybody else, then you're not an original thinker.
Okay. So we got this video here, Ben Shapiro talking on the Piers Morgan Uncensored show, and he talks about this is we're fairly close after October 7th. So we'll play the clip here, and then I think there's some other things as well that you're going to talk about with the main narrative that they've been using to add more to it, and then we'll go ahead and switch on over to Rumble. So let's go ahead and play the clip.
This is not a military operation with a military objective. This is an operation direct.
Yeah. What happened to froze?
Specifically at civilians. And when we see death in Gaza, which we're going to see, and the images are going to be horrifying and terrible, it is important to understand.
Can we enlarge it by chance or no?
Does the video?
Yeah, like make it full screen or no? If not, then it's cool.
I can do it real quick.
Yeah, see if you can.
You have to do it manually.
Oh, he has to do it. It's fine. Just roll the clip. Chat, I hope you guys don't mind. You can see it.
And that the reason that is happening is not just because Hamas crossed the border and murdered a bunch of civilians in their beds, but also because Hamas literally hides its weaponry behind civilians. Israel is currently, right now, sending out messages to Gazan civilians, telling them to get out of particular areas. And Hamas is sending out full-scale messages, telling people to ignore those messages and to stay where they are. Now, Hamas there's a reason why their headquarters were for years located underneath a hospital. I mean, it's what they understand that the West, again, has a peculiar narcissism where we think we would never put our military hardware below a hospital. That'd be insane. And so if Israel blows up a hospital, it must be that Israel's doing that because they're targeting civilians. Hamas knows that. That's why they're doing it. That's why they're doing it. They literally hide their rocket launchers behind apartment buildings in the hope that Israel will strike back and have to kill civilians in the process. Israel cares significantly more about civilian casualties in Gaza than Hamas ever has.
There have been so many horrendous images and videos. The poor girl from the music festival taken away on the motorbike was just bone-chilling to watch.
Pause real quick.
I saw something on CNN yesterday with Jake.
She was recently returned, wasn't she?
She was, yeah.
A couple days ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to talk about her.
We're going to talk about her.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Sweet. Just so the audience knows that she was actually returned recently. We'll go back.
Tapper, where he's interviewing the relative of his grandmother, who was murdered, and Hamas posted the video of her being murdered onto her.
Sulaiman, real quick, what are we looking at here specifically? This main road here.
Yeah, so this is the main road to the Nova festival.
Okay.
And there's, as you can see, there's a lot of cars there because there was a lot of cars parked up in that. And now you'll see as we go more further along, like what happens to those cars.
Okay.
Obviously, we'll speak about in
Just so the
detail
audience
in the
knows.
Rumble. So you'll see this in detail later when we go through and break down like what actually happened here.
Okay.
Where did it come from? And what the situation was. So like everything he's mentioned in the video, we are going to debunk it very early on, and then afterwards when we talk about what actually happened from a holistic perspective and from a more detailed perspective, we'll be going into this in quite detail.
Okay.
Facebook page so her family would watch it. I mean, when you hear that, it's sort of unconscionable. It's kind of beyond depravity. This is inhumanity.
I mean, Piers, you're in the business of words, and I'm in the business of words, and I've found myself repeatedly over the last few days unable to find words to describe the kind of thing that we're seeing. And again, we stretch, I think, in the West, and I stretch as an American. I think we all stretch to try and find, what would drive somebody to do something like this. And the answer sometimes is that they're I don't know how to say this otherwise. They are not like you. Hamas is not like you. They don't think like you. They don't have the same priorities as you. They don't have the same values as you. And that means that any attempt to buy.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
Did it freeze? Oh, that was it?
I think so. That was it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Was there another one that you wanted to use or no?
No, that's it. That's it. So
Okay.
look, there's a few points I want to make on this. So the first thing is you've got a scenario where it's Ben Shapiro speaking to Piers Morgan.
Yeah.
So Piers Morgan at that time was working for Talk TV. Talk TV is basically the organization of Rupert Murdoch, and Rupert Murdoch is somebody who is extremely powerful. And essentially, his power is such that obviously he controls a significant amount of the media in the United States and also a significant amount of media in the UK. Like, it's quite an interesting point because, like, Rupert Murdoch, let's say hypothetically let's say hypothetically his idea isn't to, like, destroy society.
Yeah.
But in reality, he just wants to, like, spread the news. But, like, let's think about it logically. Rupert Murdoch, is his views or his vote equal to ours? Clearly not, because I might have one vote, but he can influence millions upon millions of votes. So Rupert Murdoch decided the UK was going to have Brexit, and the UK had Brexit. And in reality...
Can you tell the people what Brexit is real fast?
Of course. So Brexit is basically the UK used to be part of Europe. And so we had a lot of trade deals with Europe, but then there was free movement of people, and there was free movement, there was free trade deal, there was easy trade deals, free movement, and free labour. And so what happened was there was this entire campaign to move Britain out of Europe, right? And obviously a lot of that was attacks on people who were migrating to UK.
Did you guys ever have the euro? Did you guys ever
We
use
never
it?
had the euro. So
You
we
never,
never
right? You always
adopted
used the
currency.
pound. Okay,
Yeah,
you
we
never
never
adopted it.
yeah.
Okay.
But so we had, ironically, because I know like people talk about it, we had Romanians and Polish people come into the UK in their numbers. And people in the UK were getting annoyed by a lot of people from Eastern Europe coming to the UK in significant numbers. And so for that reason, then this whole Brexit thing happened. And Rupert Murdoch decided he wanted Brexit. And in reality, he made it happen.
Isn't he an Australian?
Rupert Murdoch, I'm not sure
Can
actually.
we pull him up? Can we look
I'm
him
not
up
sure what
real
his
quick?
nationality
I don't think he's American, but I might have him mistaken.
I thought
Can we
he
look
was
him up real
American.
quick, Bills, for me? Rupert Murdoch. Sorry, continue on, Sulaiman.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So in reality, he caused Brexit to happen. Now, just think about this. He gets these. Oh, you're right. Yeah, he's Australian American.
Yeah. Damn, I'm good. Okay.
Yeah. So what happened was he caused it to happen, right? But just think about it. We need the immigration. So all that's happened is rather than having Eastern European immigrants, now we've got Indian immigrants. So Indians are like 5 times more coming to the UK compared to any other race. And in addition to that, you basically got a scenario where, just think about it, poor people who were struggling decided they wanted to do Brexit, because remember, we were getting a lot of these cheap deals. Now we're getting more expensive deals, and so their things are going more expensive.
Because they're not a part of the union
Yeah,
anymore.
because we're not part of the union, so we're having to basically make deals with China, make deals with America, make deals with Australia, but then these deals aren't as good as the European deals. And so for that reason, people are poorer in the UK. I mean, there's other reasons as well, but people are poorer. So he made poor people essentially vote against what was actually beneficial to them, and that shows the level of power these people have.
Interesting. Okay. So, to connect this all, he owns the company that owns Piers Morgan's show.
Exactly. So he owns Talk TV. So now Piers Morgan's separated from him, and you can kind of see his stance kind of changing a bit, right? Right.
Yeah.
But anyway, not to like let Piers Morgan off lightly, because for me, Piers Morgan is somebody like, look, how do you respect a person? For me, you respect a person because we have major events happen in life, and you want the major figures to be on the right side of history. So, for example, you, Myron, you've got your show. People respect you. You've got a lot of followers. If you're on the wrong side of history all the time, then people shouldn't respect you, because what it means is you're going to be misguiding all of your followers, because they know there's going to be another major incident happen in a year, and Myron's going to be on the wrong side of history, and then that means you're going to the people who follow you are going to be much worse in life than they should be, and they're going to have the wrong decision making, because people do tend to listen and follow others.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if you're on the right side of history all the time, then people are like, actually, the next time something happens and I'm not too sure about it.
Especially when it's not the popular thing to do.
Yeah.
Or it can get
Myron's
you like
kind
fucked
of
up.
being on the right side when it came to like COVID. He was on the right.
No, you're good.
Yeah. Okay. He was on the right side when it came to the Ukraine-Russia war. He was on the right side when it came to lockdowns. He was on the right side when it came to Israel-Palestine. And so there's another side going to be happening. So therefore, we'll take what he's got to say with some weight. So coming back to Piers Morgan, why I'm saying that is he's someone who's always on the wrong side of history, except for the Iraq war where he was on the right side. But it's not just...
We'll give him that. Yeah, he was actually... Yeah, he was very critical of the Iraq war.
He was. And he was on the right
early
side
on.
of history.
Yeah.
But after that, he's always been on the wrong side of history.
Yeah.
And not just be on the wrong side of history. He was the almost spearhead of a lot of the draconian measures that happened in the UK.
Really?
Yeah. So, for example, let's take lockdown. So the government had certain policies during that time, and he would have government officials come on his show and attack them and bombard them and basically pressure them to put more extreme measures in place. And then they would...
He was a big jab pusher, wasn't he?
He was, he was a big pusher of that, but also lockdowns, right? And because lockdowns for me, actually, I don't know what's worse. Like COVID was worse because of like the impact it had on your body, but lockdowns from a societal perspective, from an economical perspective, from all those perspectives.
You guys were locked down for a while in the UK too.
We were.
Fortunately, here in America, there were places that were locked down longer than others, but you could just go to a state that had less restrictions, like Florida. Pretty fair. Like Miami was actually the last city to open up in Florida, but there's other places like New York, San Francisco, etc. They were closed for years.
Yeah, and even then, I think your guys' measures were much worse than ours.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, I was shocked when I'd come to the US, and even now, you come to the US and people are like still masking. We gave that up like immediately, and like even in the north, we didn't even. No one masked.
Yeah.
Everyone was like,
they only mask in like blue areas.
Yeah.
In liberal areas, they still mask. Like when I go to New York or something like that, I see people, or LA, people still mask in LA, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, exactly.
Clown world, but sorry.
even when I was coming to red areas early on, though, you guys were still like masking very early on. But whereas with us, we stopped it very early. And in the north, because I'm from the north of England, nobody was masking.
Okay.
These guys,
was it worse in London though?
What do you mean, like
were you guys masking longer in London?
So I'm not from London, but in London they were, a bit more than the north, which is where I'm from. Sure. And like we were like chill, like people from the north were like we're gonna lick some lampposts. We don't care. Like if it means we get off work, brilliant.
Yeah.
So like we weren't bothered about it. But coming back to him, so he put that pressure on, and the measures were extremely worse because of it. So just think about how negatively impacted.
He has an
society.
enormous amount of influence in the UK, right? America
Huge.
not so much, but in the United Kingdom he's huge.
Huge amount of influence in the UK. And then another example of that was teaching LGBTQ in schools. So
He pushed that?
he was the spearhead again.
Oh, shit.
So what happened was LGBTQ was something that was proposed that they wanted to teach in schools to children as young as 5. And then what happened was in the UK, it was only the Muslim community that stood up against it. So the Christian community in the UK has kind of been decimated. They don't really hold the religious values anymore. So like in the last 10 years, the Christian population was 75%. Now it's 40-something%. So in 10 years, the Christian population has been completely destroyed.
What the fuck?
But they want you to believe that Muslims are taking over. But in them 10 years, the Muslim population only increased by 1%. So 30% drop in Christianity, only 1% increase in Islam. So what's actually it moved to?
They probably became atheists or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's so logical, right? So like almost 20% increase in atheism has happened in the UK. And who's caused that? So this is why like these fake nationalists like Tommy Robinson and Nigel Farage and Katie Hopkins and Lawrence Fox, like literally...
They don't identify... You know what, now that I think about it, I don't think I've ever heard them talk about Christianity, any of those guys that you mentioned.
Yeah, only to attack Islam they do, but generally speaking, yeah, they don't. If you look at their values they purport is actually anti-Christian, anti-Islam values, which is like, for example, LGBTQ. Like, what are the things that they normally attack Islam about? Oh, they're too mean to women. They're feminism, so that's basic feminism. They're too mean to like LGBTQ, so like homophobia, trying to claim that. So like a lot of these things that just cause diametrically opposite Christian and Muslim values, these guys support those, right? And so they're a big reason why it's been destroyed. So real people who are nationalists, they're not given a
None
platform.
of the major religions accept, homosexuality. That's just
Exactly.
the reality. Judaism doesn't, Christianity doesn't, neither does Islam. None of the Abrahamic religions. I don't think, is there any religion that accepts it? Hinduism? None of them.
No, they don't know.
I mean,
So-
it's a fact.
Yeah, they don't. So, but in the UK, for example, there's a person called like Nick Griffin, right? He's a nationalist, but he wasn't anti-Islam. And so he wasn't controlled by the bell. So then what happened was
I got you.
Yeah.
Alright.
So because he wasn't, then they stopped pushing him, and then he just basically become on the fringes of society.
Yeah.
So coming back to like LGBTQ, so it was only the Muslims who stood up against it. So what Piers Morgan
I
did.
saw some of those protests.
Yeah, exactly.
I did.
And they tried to make them look like barbaric. And okay, I accept that. Like maybe a lot of them don't have the skills of elocution. They're like political savvy to be able to explain, like from a logical free speech perspective, why this would be a problem, or from a, like for example, age of a child, why it'd be a problem, and why, because their frontal lobe's not developed, their brain's not developed, and so on and so forth. So a lot of them are like, these kind of like, okay, I don't want, the same people I normally talk about, the kind of like more extreme version of Islam.
Of course,
type
of
people,
course,
right?
of course.
So for that reason,
They're looking at it strictly from like the book or whatever. Like this is banned, forbidden, blah blah, versus like being explained why this is a problem, right?
Yeah, like coming at it from a very a lack of articulation, a lack of skills of understanding of how to put your point across.
Yeah.
And so then what happened was they were bringing these, Piers Morgan, he was bringing these people on his show and literally just destroying them. Like one of them, he was like, well, if you've got a problem in homosexuality, why don't you go back to Islamabad, right? And these type of things. So he literally demonized them, made them look like hooligans, and then it became law. And so he has been a spearhead of like destroying British society, destroying British values in a significant manner.
Would you consider him a left? I consider him more like a moderate leftist, but like I guess he's with what you're telling me, he sounds like more like a liberal.
I mean, he shifts, doesn't he? So when he came to US, do you remember he was more a liberal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because remember he had the whole debate with Alex Jones about the gun laws, and do you remember? So he was more of a liberal when he was in the US, but then when he went to the UK, he was a liberal, and then now he pushed himself more towards conservative.
Yeah.
But he's just like a fraud.
Yeah, he still has like some leftist things. You know what I mean? Like for sure. Okay. So you were speaking. So we all started this because you were saying how he had been on and who owns. You said Talk News, was it?
Talk TV.
Talk TV, and then that owned Piers Morgan Uncensored.
Exactly.
But he just recently got away from that.
Yeah.
So now he's able to, because he's been a lot more critical now of the IDF.
He
I've
has, yeah,
noticed.
isn't
He's
he?
been
Yeah.
extremely more critical. As the casualty numbers have gone up, now he's pretty much like, okay, Netanyahu, like this is too much. But sorry, continue on. So you were going to talk about Ben now, I think.
So like coming back to it. So then he's been perpetuating the Israeli narrative significantly, and
Ben has?
both have, but Piers Morgan specifically.
Yeah.
And again, as you said, he's one of the biggest shows in the UK, and so. And throughout the world they've been doing it. So he's not been given people a fair chance to speak about what's happening on October the 7th. This is why this is huge, this show, because it's going to be the first time it's happening properly.
So he hasn't had anyone come in and talk about the actual day of what happened on the 7th,
exactly.
right?
So he wanted
I know he's hosted debates, but he hasn't like actually sat someone down and been like, all right, tell me what happened on
Exactly.
October 7th. Okay.
And he normally doesn't even go down that road. So he wanted me on his show, before.
Okay.
He wanted me on for the Russell brand. I know you're going to do a collaboration with him.
Yeah.
Because I did a big thread about how the allegations against him were false, and it blew up.
I think they're false too.
Yeah,
and the charges still haven't come forward.
Yeah.
Still.
And if you look at them, they're like very archaic, and what the women are claiming is really weak. So like how I did threads for Tay, I did the same thing for Brand. So when his team saw that, they wanted me on, but then I was traveling, so I couldn't come on. And then the second time they wanted me on after October the 7th was because there was this guy who is from an Islamic group called HT, Hizb ut-Tahrir, which is kind of like, again, a bit of a kind of a more extreme version.
Those
exactly.
guys.
Yeah. Those guys. So one of those guys got fired because he went on Piers Morgan.
Yeah.
And then they revoked his medical license.
Oh, I saw. He was a doctor.
That's right.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes. They wanted you to debate that guy.
No, they wanted me to come on and just state my position. But like, I'm like, why would I come and do that? First of all, because I kind of don't agree with his belief system.
Yeah.
And then also, I don't agree with your censorship and you cancelling his like medical license.
Yeah, that's
so
kinda
I'll
lame.
probably smash you for your doing that, for like just taking away his medical license. But then I don't want people to think.
So
like
he
I'm a-
lobbied to get his
Yeah, he did. He started tagging him and he actually lost his medical license. But then I also said to him, it wasn't just that was the reason. I actually said to him, look, I will come on your show, but I want to come on specifically for October the 7th. If you have me on for that, then I don't mind coming on for something else later. But they don't want me on for that. So they want me on for anything but that.
I've noticed with him, what he does is he just and this is kind of how you get around it. You host debates, right? You just wants to host a debate, doesn't want someone to just say their side without being uninterrupted, because they got to give like some bullshit pushback, right? That's kind of what it is.
But even his debates are not fair. Like, for example, when you hosted the debate with like me and Destiny, it was like everyone had the same amount of time. And I think whenever it's a fair debate, like I think I'm a really good debater. Like I beat most people in debates. But even if you're not a good debater, if you
It's good discussion.
yeah, even if you're not a good debater, generally, my view is generally if you've got the truth on your side, you're gonna generally win a debate, unless you're like quite bad. And so when people are given that opportunity, they're gonna win the debate, right? Whereas with Piers Morgan, what he does is he, like for example, when he has debates, he'll make it like 4-on-1
Yeah.
or 3-on-1. So imagine a 4-on-1.
He also interjects way too much.
Exactly. So
Don't give your viewpoint. Just shut up and moderate.
Exactly. And so when I say 4-on-1, he beats one of the four. And the thing is, what happens is, again, like I don't mind that type of debate. So when I was on like Mario's platform to debate like the other side, it was 13-on-1. But then what he did was he made sure that we had the equal time. So even though there was 13 of them, it wasn't like every single one of them gets a talking point and then I get my time. So it was like, you get 5 minutes, whoever from your team wants 5 minutes out, you 13 have it, and then Sulaiman gets 5 minutes, and so that again I destroyed them because it was easy. So like if you did that, that's fair, but that's not what Piers does. So what he'll do is all four of them will speak, and then the pro-Palestinian will only get to speak like 20% of the time. And again, you don't get the opportunity to like relay your ideas because you're trying to basically.
Yeah, it's insufferable. I mean, I think I remember he had like Hasan on, who I disagree with Hasan on 99% of the things he does. I think he's a wokey SJW idiot. However, I do agree with him a lot on his Palestine stance. But they didn't even let him talk, bro. It was fucking crazy. They had like a couple of these Zionists on, and they just like kept cutting him off, and it was crazy. And I was like, oh my god, am I like rooting for Hasan right now? What the fuck is going on?
No, but that's my another problem. So he platforms people like Hasan. Like, okay, by the way, I'm one of the people who says like, I'm for anybody who's pro-Palestine, because the bigger numbers we have, the better it is, irrespective of your views, even though I'll disagree with people from the left or right.
Yeah.
I mean,
the truth is the truth regardless of who says it. I can put
Exactly.
my personal difference aside and say, you know what, I don't like you and I don't agree with you on 99% of the things, but however, I do agree with you on this and I support you on this.
Exactly.
I'm able to do that too, yeah.
Exactly. But then why he has people like them on is like, you know, Hasan or like Cenk and these type of people is because they like literally be like, oh, October the 7th was a terrorist attack, and if you don't agree with that, you're an anti-Semite. Like, so they still hold that position. Whereas now you're going to see on the show, like what we're going to discuss is going to be even diametrically opposite to what those guys believe.
Okay.
Because in reality, like we're probably one of the only few people who are like actually not few, but there's.
And I haven't seen this PowerPoint, by the way, guys. So I'm going to learn alongside you guys. I didn't take a look at it, so I'm going to be here, you know, writing down notes and learning just like you guys. So
yeah, so it'd be great, but it's a great opportunity for everyone. We're going to learn, like, everyone's going to opportunity to see what in reality happened October the 7th. And so, but coming back to Piers Morgan, he only has people who again kind of fit a certain box. So he's refusing to have someone like me because they don't want that narrative destroyed, and they want to control it as much as possible because they know if the truth's out there, it's going to again delegitimize the Israeli actions. Because like one of the main arguments they always make is like, look what happened on October the 7th, therefore X is justified. Like the babies were killed, so therefore Y is justified. Rape happened, therefore Z is justified. And you saw that immediately afterwards. Like immediately after the aftermath of what occurred, it was like burn Gaza to the ground, turn it into a parking lot because of those, and that was the reason for it.
real quick, can you give us, speaking of which, can you give us a quick summary of the narrative that came from the IDF and Netanyahu, et cetera, to justify, obviously, you know, the current aggression they've been exhibiting from their perspective? You give the people a quick summary of what it was, of what happened on that day according to the IDF.
I won't even give a straw man. I'll steel man the argument, right?
Yeah, give their their whole narrative, you know, because I know you know it like the back of your hand.
So look, the first thing they claim is obviously initially, and I'll even show how their position. So like initially they claimed that obviously babies were killed, and obviously they claimed it was beheaded babies. But afterwards they did say, look, children were killed, babies were killed. There was a massacre of civilians on that day. They say that it was and then there's two narratives, two different narratives. It was a specific attack on the Jewish people because of like hatred of Jews, because of anti-Semitism. But then there are some people who don't say that and say it was an attack on the state. So like, for example, when we did a bit of Destiny, he was like, yeah, it wasn't an attack on Jewish people, if you remember. So
because there were Arabs that were killed as well in
Exactly.
the kibbutz. A bunch of Arabs were killed as well.
Exactly, there were some Muslims who were killed.
Israeli Arabs.
Yeah. So this is again what they said. So in addition to that, they said that look, these people are so violent, so aggressive, they committed like jihad, holy war, to basically attack Israel, attack the people of Israel or the Jewish people, basically because they want to implement their barbaric Sharia law and their barbaric ideas. And so because they are barbaric, the only way they're able to do that is by physically assaulting people, killing people indiscriminately, and they recorded all of it. And the reason they recorded it is because that they basically glee in the horrors that they basically caused the people. And in addition to that, they that's what occurred. And then also again, because they are barbaric, because they are in such a manner that, and they don't respect women, they also partook in significant amount of rape. So that is like raping women, raping women and children. So even the argument was, and it was like even the acts they claimed were extremely gruesome, like basically,
beheading everybody, beheading
like
adults, kids,
taking people's organs out, and those were some of the claims that they went at the Nova Festival again because they were people who were from the free world, and it was an issue that they had with people because of they don't like freedoms, and they also at the same time bombarded with a rocket attack. So their position is very much this was an attack on the civilian populace because they wanted to kill indiscriminately. And so this is
do we have a map of where the attacks happened by chance on the PowerPoint?
We do.
Do you want me to like show that map for the people?
Yeah, sure. I think
just so they get an idea of geographically of where it was.
Yeah, slide 12-ish.
Pull it up on 12, like pull up the map. Yeah, we're still on YouTube, so try to not show the other slides, but show the ones that Oh, okay. Let's see. Give us 1 second. We're gonna try to give you guys a map here, so you can.
Number 12. It was 12. Yeah.
Number 12.
Yeah.
Okay. Boom. So let's pull up this map for the people, so they can get a visual geographic representation of what Sulaiman's speaking about specifically.
And if you can enlarge.
And we're still going the official narrative here, guys. Okay.
Can you enlarge that map as well, if possible? Yeah. Because I don't know if people can see the writing.
We might be able to zoom in. Hopefully. Give us 1 second, chat. We're gonna zoom in for you ninjas, and get ready because we're gonna be switching over to Rumble here pretty soon. But right now, guys, we're going over the official narrative that the IDF and Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister, put out.
So that green bit you can just ignore, and then if you just the actual picture. Yeah, I don't care about that's it. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, boom. And see if you can zoom in. Give us 1 second, guys. We're adjusting it for you guys so we can actually like zoom in and show you guys. If we need to, we can go on Google Maps too.
No. So
that's good. All right, let's show it. Give us 1 second, guys. We're pulling it up right now for you.
No, so they're seeing it.
They can see it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, sweet.
Okay, so oh, perfect. Oh, that's brilliant. Right, okay. So you can see where the orange pin is. Okay. That's the Nova Music Festival.
Right there, Bill. So could you put the mouse cursor over so they see right there? Boom. Right.
And then you can see that's Gaza. For Destiny, because I know he got confused a few times where Gaza was.
Gaza's the strip over there on the far left, guys, hugging the ocean.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then you see, I'll just wait. There you go. And then you got Kibbutz Reem. They call it Reem and Reem Shelter, but it's Kibbutz Reem. And then just above it, you can see Route 232. Sorry, that's the road where a lot of the cars were. And then
we saw earlier.
Yeah, exactly. And then you got Kibbutz Berry there, which is one of the kibbutz where a lot of the action occurred. And then you see.
Can you tell the people real quick what is a kibbutz? Because a lot of Americans have no idea what that actually is.
Okay, so a kibbutz is basically a place where they have there's actually a number of things that happen. First of all, they've got military personnel based in there, but they also have people who are religious based in there as well, and they have people who are basically occupying the area, so settlers in there as well. And so because if you think about it, they're literally, look how close they are to Gaza.
Yeah, right there.
So it's basically a place where they have a wide range of people, and even in the kibbutzes, there was obviously some Palestinians who would also go there and work and so on and so forth. So it was kind of like an institutional area, but there was military personnel stationed in there significantly because, again, they were using that to basically overlook Gaza as well.
Yeah.
So if you were going to take a military attack, it would be, and you were, just think about it from a military perspective, like, you would be and obviously because you based on your own experience, right, you would be thinking of these as something that you need to be aware of and you need to basically neutralize, right, because there was military personnel there. So you had Kibbutz Berry there, and then you can see more towards the right you've got Kibbutz, so you got the Nahal Oz military base. Can you see the military base right next to that? That was another place they went to.
Okay.
That one there, and then you've got Kibbutz Kfar Aza, which again was another one that they went to. Now, why they're important is because those were the ones where there was kind of the resistance forces overtook it.
Okay.
So there was significant crossfire there.
Okay.
Whereas other kibbutzes, like for example, the Mefalsim and Sedora, I hope I'm pronouncing right.
Okay. Up there north.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bills, for highlighting. Yeah.
They were the Israeli forces were actually able to push that back very quickly.
Okay.
Right.
They took that. So the IDF took those back right away.
Yeah. Like so they didn't even take control of them because they managed to stop them immediately.
Okay.
Right. So whereas the other ones, the reason we know them so well is because that's where a lot of the action
casualties
happened.
happened. Okay.
So that's so you can see now how close it is to Gaza, how all the kibbutzes are in line, how the targets were, like for example Kibbutz Re'im, Kibbutz Berry, and the Nova Festival right next to the kibbutzes was something they were not expecting. We're obviously going to talk about that in a bit.
Okay. So sorry. So you were continuing on with the official narrative. Okay. So what else?
So I think I've stated. I'm just thinking now. What else was the part? That is the
beheaded babies, the attacks, the killing people, the GoPros, terrorist attack.
The Hamas. So they also talk about the charter, right? So they say that look, Hamas in their ideology want to basically destroy the Jewish people. They want to kill and eradicate the Jewish people, and they want to enact Sharia law in the entire region.
Okay.
So that's again one of the main arguments they make. So I believe Shapiro said it in that clip that he said something about that, right?
Yeah.
So again, this is one of the arguments they make. So those things that we're going to cover, those 8 topics, are basically the main arguments.
Let's pull it back up on screen real quick. One more time for the people that are just joining.
Map, right?
No. It's slide number 2, which shows what we're going to be talking about.
Okay, slide number 2, gotcha.
Yeah. And then we're going to be switching on over here to Rumble, guys. So go ahead, rumble.com/freshfit. The link is right there at the top. So yeah, these are the topics that we're going to be talking about, guys. Obviously, we talked about the official narrative.
Hold on. I gotta
Yeah, you got to probably hit space or something like that. Okay, there it is. Boom. So we're going to talk about propaganda, beheaded babies, dead babies, baked babies, chemical weapons, Israel killing their own people. Because there was a lot of talk about, was there friendly fire there with the IDF? We're going to talk about the Hamas charter, and then we're going to talk about the mass grape. Okay, we're on YouTube, so I'm trying to keep it somewhat clean here. So anything else, Sulaiman, you want to talk about with the official narrative, etc. Before we talk about Piers Morgan, Ben Shapiro?
Okay, another part of the official narrative is, which Shapiro talked about, was that Hamas are using hospitals as military bases.
Yes.
Yeah, they also make
Al-Shifa is the big one that they
they claimed
claim.
about Al-Shifa, right? And various other hospitals. Also, they also claim that, for example, UNRWA and various other non-biased charitable groups were also part of Hamas, and they also claim that
what does UNRWA stand for? Do you remember?
The UN.
That's where the four cooks were killed, right?
No, that
Did
was
they
a
come from
WCK. WCK.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So WCK was was actually a partner of Israel in the sense of they were officially allowed to provide aid to the Palestinian people. So it was a shock that
4 of them got killed in an airstrike.
No, it was more than 4 people, wasn't it? It was so it was basically there was 3 vans. And they specifically targeted those vans to assassinate them. Within those vans, there were 3 British military people. There was 1 American Canadian. There was a Palestinian. There was an Australian.
Yep.
There was a Polish person. So
I think there was a woman from New Zealand as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Australia and New Zealand, I think. Yeah. So there was them. So that was one of the things that I said. So like these fake British nationalists that I mentioned, like Nigel Farage, Tommy Robinson, Katie Hopkins, Lawrence Fox, a British military person, 3 of them die. Not a word. Not one word.
Yeah, they didn't get publicized that much either. You could only see it on X. I only saw it on X. I didn't see mainstream media cover it.
Yeah, you're right about that. It was only
they got killed.
But just think about that. So why didn't they mention it? Because again, they're not Britain first. They don't care about the national objective. Their whole ideology, which is being funded by the lobby, is basically to purport Islamophobia. That's actually what the attack is. And young people say, oh, he's using the word Islamophobia. He's being a bit woke, but it's not. Look, I'm actually someone who was thinking like, oh, Islamophobia, it's a bit of a dumb word to use because like, are people really scared of Islam? Do they have a fear of it? Actually, they do. Right? Because, and for a long time, I used to use the word xenophobia. So I'd be like, oh, xenophobia against Muslims. But it's not. It's actually they fear Islam. Because what does Islam represent? It represents conservative values. It represents defined gender roles. It represents monotheistic values. And it's probably the last stand against hedonism and a lot of this destruction of society we see. And so therefore there is this specific fear of it and what it entails.
Okay. So these are the things that we talked about that we're going to cover. Anything else that you want to talk about before we switch on over?
No, that's, I would say those are the main points. And then obviously we're going to debunk what even Shapiro said. That's the first section, which is the propaganda bit.
Okay.
But I don't know if you want to do that on Rumble or on...
Yeah. So guys, come on over. We're going to start going over this and we're going to start meticulously breaking this down. So come on over, rumble.com/freshfit. We gave you guys the official narrative. We're going to stay live on Rumble and on X. So if you guys are watching us on X, don't worry. We're going to stay live on X, on my X, Unplugged Fit X, and on Sulaiman's X as well. Sheikh Sulaiman, I think, is the official handle for you on X, right? So yeah, we're gonna cut everything else off though. YouTube, YouTube X, YouTube and the Fresh Fit X you could cut off. Just keep my X and Sulaiman and then Rumble, and that's it.